Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Saturday, May the 29th. We got a 4-game slate for Saturday. We got an extra game. You know, we've only had like 3-game slates for pretty much the whole week. We've only had 3-game slates, but on the weekend, it looks like they are going to add a game during the day or 2 games during the day. So we have a 4-game slate today, and I think we also have a 4-game slate on Sunday as well. So as always, guys, we're going to go, game by game, kind of break down this slate, give you my thoughts, what stands out to me, look at the slate on Friday night, just giving a quick overview of each team and each game. But before we get started with the breakdown, as always, I would appreciate it if you would click that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well and hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Now, since it's the weekend, I probably will not be live. I normally don't go live during the weekend, especially since, lock's going to be a little bit earlier today. So I probably won't be streaming, but obviously I still wanted to get some videos up for these weekend slates, and I do plan on playing. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the first game of the night. We'll start off with, or first game of the day, I should say. We'll start off with Milwaukee and Miami. So, this is a series, so far we've kind of seen it's gotten ugly. Through two of the 3 games so far have been blowouts. Game 1 was a close game, did go to overtime, but the last 2 games have both been blowouts. Milwaukee won by like over 30 points in both of these games, or they won by 29 last game. They won by like 32 the game before that, or 34. So they've been just crushing Miami right now. Giannis at the top, his minutes have kind of been, I don't want to say limited, but definitely cut down because of the blowout. Only played 31 in game 2, only played 33 last game. I expect, though, if this game's close today, I'm just going to assume that every game stays close. At this point, it's just too tough to predict when these, if we're going to have a blowout or not. I mean, we saw the Nets. The Nets were playing really well. They blew out the Celtics in game 2. They've just been in complete control of the series, and then the Celtics come out and play really well Friday night, get a big win. It's a close game. Tatum goes off. A lot of the other Celtics did well. Like, we could definitely see a scenario today where Miami comes out, plays well, it's a close game, and Giannis plays like 40 minutes. So if it's a close game and we're getting 38, 40 minutes from Giannis, I mean, he's clearly one of the top pay-up options. The only thing that's tough is, we've said it so many times, value is kind of hard to come by on these short playoff slates, but we do have some injuries to talk about on the Milwaukee side. Donte DiVincenzo is going to be out for the remainder of the playoffs, so that is going to give us some potential value from Milwaukee. Not guys that are like lock plays or anything, but definitely some decent value plays that we will talk about. Clearly, though, on a short slate like this, Giannis is a top option if you can fit him in. Then you have Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday. I definitely have some interest in Jrue Holiday. I did play him last slate, and he was pretty solid. Played 34 minutes in the blowout, had 42 DraftKings points. He's been really good in the postseason. He's gonna play probably 36 to 38 minutes if this is a close game. Drew's been super productive lately. He's put up over 42 DK points in 3 straight games in every game in the series. So I think Drew's a really good option. I would definitely rather have him over Middleton. So I like Giannis, I like Jrue, and then with Donte DiVincenzo out, I think we do get some value. Bryn Forbes and Pat Connaughton, I think, are the 2 guys that benefit with DiVincenzo out. I think those are going to be the guys that soak up his minutes. Bryn Forbes did start the second half in place of DiVincenzo last game. He only played 20 minutes, but a large majority of that was due to the blowout. I think he would have played more had it been a close game. I'm expecting Bryn Forbes to start today, and I'm expecting him to play probably 26 to 28 minutes, could maybe get 30 to 32 minutes. I think it's going to depend on how he's playing. If he's shooting the ball well, this is not a guy that I really like playing because he's super scoring dependent. If he's not knocking down shots, he's not really going to do much else outside of hit threes. Like, he's not going to rebound or get assists. But at 3,600, I mean, it's not like we need him to have a massive game to pay off this price tag. If he knocks down like 4 or 5 3-pointers, maybe gets a few rebounds, I mean, that's 20 DraftKings points right there. So I think Bryn Forbes at 3,600, expecting him to start in place of DiVincenzo is actually a pretty good value today on a slate where we don't have much value. So I do like him on DK, and he's minimum salary on Yahoo, so I definitely have interest in him over there as well. $10 on Yahoo at the shooting guard position. But then outside of Forbes, like I mentioned, I think Pat Connaughton benefits without DiVincenzo. He probably gets 22 to 24 minutes off the bench for 3,400. I think he's a okay value play. I do feel better about Bryn Forbes just because Bryn Forbes is starting, but I think Connaughton's going to get some more minutes, and that does make him playable at 3,400. But like, we skipped over Brook Lopez, 4,600. I think Brook Lopez is an okay value. He's going to start, probably play around 30 minutes if it's a close game. For 4,600, I don't mind him if you need a pay down option. Brook Lopez, not a guy that really has much upside, but obviously at 4,600, it's not like you need him to go out there and like have a massive game. But that's probably it for me from Milwaukee. I think we covered everything. Giannis, Drew, Forbes, Lopez, and Connaughton are kind of the guys I'm looking to from Milwaukee today. Now, on the Miami side, talking about the Heat here. So the Heat have kind of burned me the last few slates. Obviously the blowout has cost them. Jimmy Butler, I played him every game in this series. I played him game 1, game 2, and game 3. Game 1, he had a terrible shooting game. Still put up 47 DK points even because of that, or even with that. And then game 2 was a massive blowout. He played terribly. Only had 22 DK points. And then last game was a blowout as well. He still had 40 DraftKings points. I think he played 38 minutes. I'm not exactly sure when he got pulled from the game. I think he came out with 5 or 6 minutes left in the game. He was on pace to play 45 minutes. So, I mean, if this game stays close, we might get Jimmy Butler playing 45, 46 minutes. We know he's a guy that can handle heavy minutes. He's always been someone that has played big minutes throughout his career. 8,600 is it's still too cheap for Jimmy Butler. I don't care what people say. I know he's been bad, but we saw with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum had 2 bad games to start off the series, and then game 3 he goes nuclear, puts up 70. I mean, that could definitely be Jimmy Butler today. Jimmy Butler, he's going to have a big game at some point. You need Milwaukee or you need Miami to keep the game close if they can, and Jimmy plays his full minutes. He's very likely to pay off 8,600. So I still like Jimmy Butler a lot. He's still one of my favorite plays on the slate, and I like him a lot on Yahoo as well at $41. We got to hope the game stays close. I think it does, and if we get full minutes from Jimmy, I like him a lot. And then Bam at 7,400 I think is also a decent option. He also has not been that great so far in this series, but we know he's going to play big minutes if it's a close game. His price has come down to 7,400. Not a top play for me, but definitely viable. He's a guy I would like to have in my player pool if I was playing multiple lineups. And then Goran Dragic is probably my second favorite play behind Butler. He's someone that I have also played in every game so far in the series. He came off the bench game 1 and 2, but he actually moved into the starting lineup last game. He played 29 minutes. I think he would have played more, had the game not blown out. He probably would have got 34, 35 minutes. Dragic shot the ball very poorly last game, and he still, scored 21 DK points. He was still okay. Obviously, we're looking for more than that, but if Dragic just has a better shooting game last game and, the game stays close, I mean, he easily can go for 30-plus DraftKings points. With him starting now and him likely playing more minutes, I think Dragic is still underpriced at 5,400. I know he hasn't really had any big games yet, but we know the kind of upside that Goran Dragic has, and with him now starting, the minutes are going to be even higher for him, which just boosts his upside even more. So I really like Dragic. I like him a lot on both sides. Definitely going to be someone I get exposure to on this Miami team. And then the rest of these guys, I think, are just dart throws. Tyler Hero going to come off the bench, probably play mid-20s minutes. He hasn't been that good, but we know Hero has upside. For 5,200, he's an okay play. Trevor Ariza, not someone that really has much upside. His minutes have started to trend down. I know the blowouts kind of cost him, but for 4,900, I think I'll probably just look elsewhere. Same with Duncan Robinson for 4,700. Just not a guy that I really play. At this price point, he doesn't stand out as a top play. And then Kendrick Nunn, with him now coming off the bench, I really don't have any interest in him. So that's probably it for Miami. My main interests here are Dragic and Butler, but I think Bam's in play, and I think Tyler Hero's an okay option too. But that does it for this game. Let's move on to the next one, talk about Denver and Portland. So on Denver today, you got Jokic at the top for 10,400. Obviously, Jokic on a short 4-game slate like this, Jokic is a clear top play. It's just, can you fit him in? You can't play all these guys. Right now, I still do lean Giannis over Jokic. That's kind of been my stance these last few slates. I think I'm going to stick to that today, just because there are some other centers I do like today. And centers a little bit deeper than power forward. Not as many options I like at power forward. So I think I prefer Giannis over Jokic, but clearly Jokic is a good option here. We know what we're getting from Jokic. He's going to play big minutes. He's a super productive player. He's got massive upside. We haven't seen a massive game from Jokic yet, but been super consistent. 58, 56, 59 DK points, 10,400. Price, feels priced about right, if not a little bit too cheap, honestly. So definitely like Jokic. Clearly a guy you can get exposure to. Just if I'm playing one lineup today, I don't know if I get to Jokic just because, with roster construction, there are some other centers I do like for cheaper that we'll talk about. But Michael Porter Jr. have a 7,200. He's burned me back-to-back slates. I don't know if I'm going to play him today. He's played 33 minutes in both games, only 29 and 24 DK points. He still feels underpriced at 7,200. I'm sure that if I don't play MPJ today, he's going to go off just because that's how it's going to be. If I ever play a guy and he sucks like 2 games in a row, when I finally stop playing him, that's when he'll go off. So I'm sure that if I don't play MPJ today, he's going to have a massive game. I don't know yet what I'm doing with him. I'm probably not going to go there. I think there are other guys I'd just rather get to. But 7,200 is still too cheap for MPJ in my opinion, just because he's going to play big minutes. He's a productive player when he's on the floor. He's had bad games back to back, but he's going to bounce back at some point. I still do like MPJ on the slate. But outside of that, like I don't see too much else I like on Denver. Compazzo at 6K feels priced about right. He had a good game last game, but I don't know if I want to play Compazzo at this price tag. He just feels too expensive right now. Same with Aaron Gordon. Like Aaron Gordon just doesn't have much upside in this Denver offense. What's a ceiling? Basically a ceiling game from Aaron Gordon at this point. It's like 30 DraftKings points. So I don't have any interest in him. Monte Morris, I think, would be the guy I'd look to. If I was going to play anyone on Denver outside of Jokic and MPJ, he's probably going to come off the bench, play like 25 to 30 minutes. He's super cheap, 4,500. He did not close last game, but he still got 25 minutes. He's probably going to get like 25 to 30 minutes if I had to guess. Maybe more if he's playing really well. If they close with him over Austin Rivers, which is a possibility, he'll probably get like 30 minutes. So for 4,500, I think Monte Morris is a solid value. Then Austin Rivers did have a really good game last game. He played 37 minutes. I think one of the reasons you didn't see as many minutes for Monte Morris was because Rivers was playing really well, and they just went with Rivers instead of Morris late in the game. Could they do that again? They absolutely could. I think it's going to be kind of a hot hand situation between Morris and Rivers on who is in the closing lineup. I don't know if I'd play both those guys together, but I think they're both good values. Rivers is the starter, so he might be the safest option, but both are cheap enough to where I think they are solid values today. I just don't know if I'd play them together just because they kind of take minutes away from each other. It's unlikely you see both those guys on the floor, in crunch time in the closing lineup. So, yeah, that's my stance on, the Denver value. That's probably it, though, for Denver. I think Jokic, MPJ, Morris, and Rivers are the guys I'm really looking to here. Now, on the Portland side, looking at the Blazers, you have Damien Lode at the top, 9,600. Dame's just been super good in this series. He's played, in 3 games so far. He's played at least 40 minutes in every game, 59, 68, 53 DK points. We know what we're getting from Damien Lode. He's going to take 25, 30 shots. He's going to, get assists. He's a guy that just, can do everything. Rebounding-wise, he's not going to get much rebounds, but we know Dame's going to go out there and chuck. He's going to take, a ton of shots. He can get you double-digit assists. He's got double-double potential. He's scoring dependent, but we know Dame's going to go out there and just shoot as much as he wants. I think I still prefer some other guys over Dame on this slate. Like I do like Giannis a good amount. I like Jimmy for cheaper. We're going to talk about like Nurkic, who I really like for cheaper. You have the Philly guys you can go to, who I do have interest in. But I think Dame's a good option too at 9,600. Really you can't go wrong with any of these studs. Like all these studs have upside. All of them project well. It's just you kind of have to pick your favorites. You can't play all these guys. I would say Dame probably falls behind a couple of other guys like, Jimmy, probably behind Giannis, probably behind like Ben Simmons, but, I think Dame is a good option today at 9,600. Now, CJ McCollum at 7,300, not as interested in. He's going to play big minutes. He's not nearly as productive as Damian Lillard, but, in 40 minutes, we could definitely get 40-plus DraftKings points from CJ McCollum. I still do prefer a guy like Drew Holiday in a similar price range. Like you have McCollum and Drew Holiday priced very similarly. I give the edge to Drew Holiday, but I think CJ McCollum is definitely viable. Nurkic, though, I like a lot. I've played Nurkic basically every slate so far that in the playoffs. He's played 3 games. In those 3 games, 33, 25, and 32 minutes. And then the game where he did play 25 minutes, he fouled out in that game. He also fouled out in the last game, so he would have played more minutes had he not fouled out. But clearly Nurkic is a guy they want to give minutes to right now. He's playing really well. He's their best chance at stopping Jokic. Obviously, he's the guy they want to put up against Jokic. I think as long as this game stays close and Nurkic is not in foul trouble, we probably get like 34, 35 minutes from Nurkic. We know this is a guy that's super reductive when he's on the floor. He had 13, 13, and 6 last game. Like, he's got triple-double upside. He's actually a pretty good passer. He's a guy that can get assists. We know he's a good rebounder. He can score around the basket. 6,900 is just too cheap for Nurkic. If he's going to play anywhere near 30 minutes, he's too cheap. So, love use of Nurkic once again. Just got to hope that he can stay out of foul trouble. If he can, he's very likely to pay off this price tag. And he's still too cheap on Yahoo as well. $29, he is definitely one of my favorite centers over there. The Norman Powell you have at 5,500. I think Norman Powell a solid option. I don't know if I want to get too excited about Norman Powell. He did finally have a good game last game. Scored 32 DK points in 36 minutes. We know the minutes are going to be there, which I think does make him appealing. The production's been super up and down. Like, you never know what you're going to get from Norman Powell. But the minutes will be there. The minutes will be there, and at 5,500, he's definitely playable. Same with Robert Covington, another guy you don't really know what you're going to get from him, but in 3 games so far in the series, he's played 34, 37, and 39 minutes. He was actually pretty good last game, had 6 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, a block, and a steal. He was actually productive for once. Again, the production for Robert Covington, it's going to fluctuate. Some games he'll put up 15 DK points, some games he'll put up 30. He's going to play a ton of minutes, though, and at 4,700, getting a guy this cheap that's going to play 36, 38 minutes, definitely makes him a good value as well. So that's probably it, though, for Portland. I think we touched on everyone I have interest in. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Philly and Washington. So Philly today at the top, Joel Embiid, 9,800. Definitely like Joel Embiid on this slate, especially depending on what his ownership's going to be. Now, so far through 3 games in this series, or 2 games in this series, he has not been good at all. Game 1, he was in foul trouble. Game 2 was a blowout. He wasn't great anyway, but Game 2 was a blowout. He only played 26 minutes. So far, he's put up 41 and 36 DK points through 2 games against the Wizards. This is a really good matchup, one you would expect Embiid to have a ton of success in, and we haven't really seen a big game from Embiid yet. I think that is going to keep his ownership down. I think he's going to be a lot lower owned than some of these other studs. Like, I'm pretty sure he was the highest owned stud when they played on Game 1. He busted. Last slate, he was a little bit lower owned, and he busted again. I don't see many people playing Embiid today. It's tough to really click him at this point just because of how bad he's been, but we obviously know, we kind of saw it with Jason Tatum. Like, Jason Tatum had a bad game 2 games in a row, and then he went nuclear in Game 3. Like, that could definitely happen here with Embiid. Like, I would not be surprised if Embiid goes out there and dominates and puts up like 70 today. So Embiid is still a good option. He feels a little bit more riskier than normal just because of, he's been playing poorly lately, but I still do like Embiid. The only issue I have is, I really like Nurkic in that mid-range. You have some other guys you can play at center like Jokic. You can play Giannis at center, who I like. You have Brook Lopez for value. That's my only issue, but I think Embiid is a good option. Ben Simmons, though, he's been playing incredibly well through 2 games against the Wizards. He's played big minutes, too. Last game, only 29 minutes, but obviously, the blowout kind of killed him there. He didn't get really any run in the 4th quarter. But Game 1 was close, and we did get 38 minutes from Ben Simmons in Game 1. But again, 50 Draftkings points in both games, 51 DK points in Game 1, 50 last game. He's been doing everything. He's been scoring, he's been getting rebounds, he's been getting assists. He's kind of looked like the old Ben Simmons, a guy that has triple-double upside every night, can go out there and stuff the stat sheet. I still like Ben Simmons a lot. I know he was kind of disappointing during the regular season. Like, he wasn't a guy that I really rostered much during the regular season. But, he's kind of turned a corner so far in the playoffs. He's been more aggressive. He's just doing a lot more offensively. He's chipping in with those peripherals. The rebounds and the assists are way up. So it's 7,600. With him playing nearly 40 minutes a night right now, I really like Ben Simmons. He's definitely, I would say, my favorite Sixer. I'd probably put him ahead of Embiid when you do factor in price tag. Embiid probably would, be my second favorite Philly guy, though, and then Tobias Harris for 7,100 I think is also viable. I do like Ben Simmons on Yahoo, though, too. Forgot to mention him there. $33, definitely one of my favorite point guards, along with Goran Dragic on Yahoo. But yeah, Tobias Harris, I think, is a decent option, too. Now, I do prefer Ben Simmons just because Ben Simmons, can do more with the peripherals. He's got triple-double upside, whereas Tobias Harris is more scoring dependent, but Tobias Harris been okay so far through 2 games. He was really good in Game 1. Last game, the blowout kind of killed him. He was productive, though, in that limited time. And he did have 33 DK points in 23 minutes. Definitely like Tobias Harris, too. I think I'd just give the edge to Simmons over him. But, that's probably it for Philly. I mean, the rest of these guys, I think, some of these guys are playable, like Seth Curry, probably going to start and play around 30 minutes. You never know what you're going to get from Seth Curry, but he's cheap. It's a good matchup. The minutes should be there. He's definitely viable. Same with Danny Green. Danny Green going to start, play 30 to 32 minutes. He's cheap. It's a good matchup. You never know what you're going to get from Danny Green, but again, it's just a value play. A guy that's going to get minutes and he's cheap. That's basically what we're looking for on these playoff slates. We're not going to find any smash value plays. There's not going to be guys that project for 8x or 9x value. So your Robert Covingtons, your Danny Greens, your Seth Currys, these are the kind of guys you have to look to for value. I think Danny Green, makes for a decent pay down option at 4,300. But that's probably it for Philly. We can go ahead and talk about the Wizards now. So in Washington, big team to watch when it comes to injury status. Russell Westbrook is currently questionable for this game, and he did not practice on Friday, so I think there's a pretty good chance Westbrook doesn't play today. We obviously don't have this news right now. I'm recording this video on Friday night. I have no idea when we're going to get this news. It might be, late Saturday night, maybe right before tip-off, before we even get news on Westbrook. Really have no idea, but he's currently questionable. This is obviously huge news that impacts a ton. If Westbrook plays, it's basically the same thing we've been talking about for the last 2 games. Westbrook and Beal, if they're both playing, I think are good options. Westbrook, tougher to play at 11,200 just because there are other studs I prefer for cheaper. His price is coming down, but I think I still prefer some of these other guys we talked about, like Jimmy. You have Giannis, who I really like. You have, Jokic you could pay up for. You have Dame. I still don't think I'm going to get to Westbrook. Bradley Beal, though, I think at 9K, even if Westbrook plays, I think it's a pretty good option. Beal's going to play massive minutes. Even in the blowout last game, he played 35 minutes. He's likely to play 40 to 42 minutes here if this game stays close. So I think Beal's a good play at 9K. Obviously, if Westbrook sits, though, Beal becomes probably my favorite play on the slate. He gets a massive boost if Westbrook's out. He's going to dominate the usage. He's already a guy that plays a ton of minutes and just takes a ton of shots. Now, if we get a scenario where Westbrook's not out there, Beal's literally going to just take he's basically the entire offense is going to run through Bradley Beal. So I would like Bradley Beal a ton if Westbrook sits. I like him a decent amount even regardless if Westbrook plays. I think if Westbrook sits, though, that will pretty much give us some good value from the Wizards. Now, none of these guys are going to feel insanely confident in, but I think with no Westbrook, if he were to be out, that would definitely give a boost to Rui Hachimura. He would just be allowed to do more offensively. He's been a guy that hasn't really been that productive on a point-per-minute basis this year, but we've seen him have good games whenever Beal sits or whenever Westbrook sits. So I would definitely like Rui a little bit more if Westbrook's out. Ish Smith, if he were to start in place of Westbrook, I think would be a really good value play. He would probably get 30 to 32 minutes, if not more. For 4,800, even at that price point, I think Ish Smith would stand out as a solid option if Westbrook sits. And then Bertans, Raul Neto, I think would also be okay options. Neto for 3,700 actually would probably like a lot for value just because with no Westbrook, there's a ton of minutes to go around. There's more usage to go around. Neto would definitely benefit. So it's tough right now. It's really a wait and see for me. Obviously, we can't really build lineups until we have this Westbrook news. If Westbrook plays, I think Westbrook and Beal are the only guys I'm really looking to on Washington on this slate. Beal, though, would probably be my favorite Wizard. If Westbrook sits, though, love Bradley Beal. If Westbrook's out, would like Rui a lot, would like Ish Smith a lot, and I think Neto and Bertans would also be guys you could look to. But that's probably it for this game. We'll go and talk about the last game of the night, Utah and Memphis, before we end the video. So Utah, they did get Donovan Mitchell back last game. He was limited a good amount. He only played 26 minutes in his first game back, only had 31 DK points. 8,200, he's still pretty expensive. It's tough to roster Donovan Mitchell until we kind of see his minutes fully get ramped up. I don't know how many minutes he plays today. If he plays like 25, 26 again, if he plays 30 to 32, if he plays his full 36, 38. We just don't know, so I'm probably just going to avoid Donovan Mitchell. With Mitchell back, that hurts guys like Conley, Clarkson, Bogdanovich, Ingles. Conley, though, did have a good game last game, even with Mitchell playing. He played 37 minutes, had 49 Draftkings points, was super productive. I think Conley's the one guy that doesn't get as impacted. I don't think Conley's as impacted as much as, Ingles and Bogdanovich are. Bogdanovich and Ingles, they both get pretty big, boosts down with Mitchell back. But Conley, we know Conley's still going to go out there and produce. He's going to get a lot of time a lot of time on the floor without Mitchell. They're definitely going to stagger those guys' minutes, so where you're going to have one of Conley or Mitchell on the floor at all times. Now that Conley's playing big minutes, he got 37 minutes last game. If Conley plays 36, 38 minutes, this is a fantasy point-per-minute player. This guy should definitely put up 40-plus DK points most nights when he's playing, around 40 minutes. So I actually would like Mike Conley a lot today, or actually do like Mike Conley a lot today, regardless, of Mitchell being back. I think Conley's a good option. He's my favorite play from Utah. I think Rudy Gobert's an okay play as well. He played 36 minutes last game, had a big game, 50 Draftkings points. We know what Gobert's going to do. He's going to go out there and score around the rim. He's going to get a ton of rebounds. He's got 20-20 upside. The only issue I have is, you have Nurkic for cheaper, who I really like. You have J-Val on the other side of this game, who I like. You have Embiid, Jokic you can pay up for. There's a lot of good center options, but I think, Rudy Gobert at 7,700 is definitely someone I'll be looking to. I would say that Conley and Gobert are my two favorite plays from Utah, and that's probably it for the rest of these guys. I don't want to go to Royce O'Neal. He's going to play big minutes, but he's not that productive. He had 30 DK points last game, but I don't really want to chase that. I'll let other people chase that. For 4,600, I don't have much interest in O'Neal. So yeah, it's Conley, it's Gobert, and that's probably it for Utah for me. Now on the Memphis side, Ja Morant at the top, 8,300. He had a massive game last game. Played 43 minutes, had 61 DraftKings points, 47 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Just a huge game from Ja Morant. You guys know, if you've been watching the channel for a while, this is someone that I just can't get right. Anytime I play him, like basically all regular season, anytime I played Morant, he would suck. And, whenever I wouldn't play him, that's when he would go off. I've yet to play Morant so far in the series. I don't know if I'm going to get to him today, just because there are some other guards I do prefer in that price range. But clearly, Ja Morant's a guy that has massive upside right now. The minutes are through the roof. He's going to play probably around 40 minutes if this game stays close. He's clearly just going to take a ton of shots. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. Morant at 8,300 is still a good option. I think he's going to be somewhat low owned. I don't see a ton of people paying up for Morant today. So I definitely like Ja Morant in tournaments. I don't know if I get there like in my one lineup, but as a GPP play, a guy that I would mix in, he's someone I would mix in, if I was playing multiple lineups. And then J-Val, I do have some interest in still. His minutes have been, pretty high. Played 30 minutes last game. I think he was in foul trouble some last game. Foul trouble's been an issue with J-Val so far, but the minutes are up right now. He's going to play big minutes if this game stays close and he's not in foul trouble. And we know J-Val has massive upside. He's a guy that can give you, 50-plus DK points when he's playing big minutes like this. So if we get like mid-30s to high-30s minutes from J-Val, I definitely like him at 7,900. Another good tournament play. Not someone I'd be getting to in cash games or anything, but a good tournament option. That's probably it, though, for Utah. Like, Dylan Brooks feels priced appropriately. Kyle Anderson as well kind of feels priced appropriately. He did play 36 minutes last game, which was good to see. He's a guy that hasn't really been playing massive minutes. Like, they kind of keep him around 30 to 32. But the fact that he got 36 last game does make him look a little bit more appealing, especially if he does play 36 minutes again. So I think Kyle Anderson's an okay option. So Morant, J-Val, Kyle Anderson are probably my 3 favorite plays from Memphis. I don't know if there's any core options coming from this late night game, but definitely guys I would be mixing in if I was playing a lot of lineups. Conley, Gobert, Morant, J-Val. These are guys I'd be mixing in for sure. But yeah, that's it for today's slate, guys. We covered all 4 games for this Saturday slate. So I hope you did enjoy the video. As always, I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, be sure to click that like button down below. Click that subscribe button as well, and also hit the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, I will not be live today. It is the weekend. I normally don't stream on the weekend, so I won't see you guys in the live stream, but I'll definitely be back, with a live stream on Monday. I'll still have videos up for Sunday as well. I'll still be making a video for Sunday's slate. But yeah, we'll be back with, live streams Monday. I'll see you guys then. I hope you, have a good day today. Enjoy your Saturday. Best of luck on this slate. Hope you guys win some money. Good luck tonight, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.